and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you some writing tips. How to overcome obstacles to your writing life and some of the techniques that I use. So number one, people don't say they don't have time to write. I understand. I work full-time. I've raised 2 girls while I was learning my writing craft. I get it. Time is very limited in this world, but you have to make a choice. So if you're going to sacrifice for your writing life or if you're going to put Netflix above that. Can you get up at half an hour early every day and do 500 words? Or can you spend your lunch breaks doing sprints? There's so many ways to fit the words in if you want to do it. There's many books that you can look at that will give you tips on how to get words in. So don't let time be an obstacle to you. There's always a way around it. When something's important enough, you shower every day, you brush your teeth every day, and you can add I write every day and make that your new mantra. Number 2, writer's block. I don't know what to write. And I've experienced this, and you want to make sure that everything you put down, and this kind of is tied to another one, perfectionism. You want to make sure that the next thing you put down is the exact right story that's going to be the next greatest American novel, and people are going to love it. But you know what? It probably won't be the #1 bestseller in the whole world. But it's going to be your story. And no one can tell your story as well as you can tell it. It's going to be something from your heart. And you're going to find people who have similar interest and similar taste to read that book. Whether it'll be half the world, like Stephen King and Anne Rice or Patrick Rothfuss, or will it be, somebody who's just sold 2 or 3 copies on Amazon? There's no way to know until you get it out there. So to overcome writer's block, some of the other techniques I use, I read other books. It don't necessarily need to be in the genre that I'm writing in, but the words themselves get me motivated and show me some different techniques and get me excited about story. I do watch some TV sometimes and get some Netflix shows that are very inspiring. I watch history. I do other things such as art. I draw sometimes. I love music. I listen to music, trying to get my creative mind working. So I would suggest even exercising and getting away from the desk for a little bit and just taking a walk. Also just writing anything for a little bit. Just write down whatever comes into your mind. You'd be surprised at how many good things that you can pull from that once you're done writing. You'll look back and go, oh wow, there's actually lots of good things to save here. All right, another thing is people lack confidence. And like I said earlier, you might not write the next great American novel, but you don't know that until it's out there. You don't know what people are going to connect with you and your story until it's out there. Plus, it's a learning process. Do you think the Beatles went out there and the first time they ever played together that the world fell down on their knees and worshiped them and their songs? They didn't. They had, beer bottles thrown at them. They were called a long-haired hippie band. People did not accept them right off the bat. But they played for these small bars, and then they went and they practiced and they wrote new songs and they learned new techniques. So as you're doing this, don't look at it as an end-all be-all. It's a process. You're in this for life. If you have made a commitment to be a writer, you've made a commitment for life. And so it's okay if you don't write a story that everyone loves or the publisher buys this time. The next time they will. George R.R. Martin was a very popular science fiction writer and fantasy writer back in the 90s. And all of a sudden, like on his 3rd book, no one would buy it. It was horrible. I can't say it was horrible. I didn't actually read it, but the publisher dropped him like a hot potato. He couldn't sell a book to save his life. He ended up going to Hollywood and having to write scripts for many years until he came up with the idea for Game of Thrones. So if somebody who can write a story like Game of Thrones, who has engaged, nearly half the world in its story, got ignored for certain parts of his old stories, you give yourself a break. There's always a learning process, and we're in this for the long haul. So motivation. This is something I learned from like Tony Robbins and some of the other motivational tapes and gurus, The Secret and different things. But I'm very much believer in, creating your own realities. So if you want to be productive and get rid of anxiety, you have to just kind of see your end goal. You have to see it as if it's already happening. See your name at the top of the Amazon charts. See people actually picking up your book and reading it. And that hopefully will get you past your perfectionism and any anxiety you might have, because you already seen the goal happening. So you're not as anxious about it. I know it's helped me, and hopefully some of these tips and ideas will help you and your writer's journey. I actually have to remind myself sometimes when I say I don't have time to write that, yeah, you do have time to write. And no matter how anxious you feel or how perfect you want this next thing to be, I have to give myself a little pep talks and reminders. So don't forget, you need to have breathers and pep talks and videos like this that might give you one idea that will trigger your imagination or let some of that stress out. Anyways, I wish you the best. Happy writing. If you would like to see more videos like this or more about my process, so thank you so much for watching. I look forward to talking to you again. Have a great day, and bye.